It's time for Mic'd Up. This is the time in the show we dedicate to hearing from unique and cool people doing some unique and cool things, you know, like Hank the Tank. I'm gonna argue hard for my boy. These are conversations, not sound bites. Today, Adam Longo brings us the story of a former diplomat turned novelist who recently released the book Run Scout Run, a tribute to the dog he adopted while serving in Sudan. Here's the story of Chris Datta.
There is an old saying in Washington, if you're going to stay in this town and you want a friend, go out and buy a dog. In Juba, I definitely needed a friend. I got one of the best.
An American diplomat in South Sudan, not exactly living a life of glamour and prestige. You know, for this segment, we have mic'd up artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs. Now we're going to hear from our first author. Christopher Datta has written a memoir, 2 Civil War novels, and more. Right now, though, we're going to talk about his latest, a reflection on his loyal companion, who he brought back to D.C. with him from Africa.
Run Scout Run, my newest book, just came out late last year. Dogs really are a gift.
Tell us about Scout.
I wanted to do a tribute because he was an amazing dog, one of the smartest dogs I've ever known, and a real character. He had a big personality. This book is a tribute to the dog and friend that he was.
You talk about that human-canine dynamic. What did you learn in the process?
What a remarkable world, and how little we credit the species that we share the planet with, and how intelligent and feeling and emotional they are, and how we can have a personal relationship with them, because Scout was one of my best friends ever. Touched with Fire, my first Civil War book. This is a sequel to that called Fire and Dust, which tells the story of the same battles. This one really tells the story from the northern point of view about the war. This talks about the war from the southern point of view. The Demon Stone, it's sort of a Stephen King style supernatural thriller. A Perfect Disguise, which is a detective story set in Washington, D.C. Guardians of the Grail, A Life of Diplomacy on the Edge, which is my memoir.
This is you on the cover.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about people, about foreign service officers and the important work that we do. Juba is a dangerous place, not because the people are hostile, but because poverty is widespread and guns are easily and cheaply available after years of civil war. I've been in a lot of war zones. I was in Lebanon at one point, and Syria, and so.
So your career, a lot of your life has been centered around and immersed in conflict, and yet you decide to settle yourself back here in Washington.
Yes. Men with guns quickly learned that if you squeezed an aid compound, money came out. So nighttime compound invasions by men with AK-47s became a common event.
I don't know how you work in places like this where it's like anything can happen at any time.
I take a great deal of pride and satisfaction from knowing that my career made a difference to a lot of people. And as to my writing, I write my passion. If something engages me, I want to explore it.
Fascinating. The subject matter really runs the gamut to war and these super high stress situations, all the way to Scout, which I guess once you're in these high stress situations, you develop a different level of appreciation for those things which bring you some peace. Yeah, it's good to have an outlet, and that's one of the reasons that he picked up Scout there in Juba. So the book is just filled with a lot of these wonderful anecdotes, particularly one he can recall in South Sudan, working with a military colonel who he really didn't see eye to eye with on a lot of things. And he writes about Scout having this intuition about this guy, and at one sort of get-together that they had on their compound there, Scout came up, just sort of casually looked at the colonel, lifted his leg and peed on the guy, and then was immediately scolded, but it was like, okay, he knew what was going on. And one other thing that's cool about Chris, so he lives in the Lincoln Park neighborhood in a row house. He grows grapes in his yard. He actually fermented and bottled a wine that he grew the grapes for here in D.C. It's Scout Dog Wine. Appropriately, it says, lap it up. I'm just impressed that it's a 14.9% wine. Pretty strong, like it sounds like Scout's personality was, too. Absolutely. After one bottle, you are indeed lapping it up. That you're reduced to that. I would recommend. You could end up on the ground licking yourself. Who knows? An alternate title, maybe Go Scout Go. I like Go Scout Go. Let's focus on that one.
All right, so listen, we actually got this story. Somebody reached out to us and said, hey, this is a cool guy. You should talk to him. That's what we do. And we actually went on a story just a couple of days ago where somebody said, hey, Reese, you should check out this guy. So we went. Our stories thrive on your tips. Reach out to me. Hit me up. Email alongo@wsa9.com, or you can find me on any of those social media outlets. We want to tell the stories that you want to see, so reach out.
Sensational job as always, my friend.